Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Welcome to A Creator-Based Life, the weekly podcast for CMH Coaching and the Creator-Based Way. And I'm Beth. I'm here with Jenn, who can grow almost anything gardener and a hypnotherapist and a coach. And I'm here with Jaycine, who also is a business coach, a creator-based coach, a mom, and an avid runner. We're here today to talk to you about the words in your head. That conversation. I know. See, so I told you guys, we didn't want to talk about it beforehand. The conversation, the dialogue, the stuff that's running in there all the time. What to do with it, how to work with it, and what happens if you leave it to stress, and what happens if you actually take action. We're going to talk a little bit too about some ways that you can work with the conversation in your head and with that inner dialogue. So just exciting thought. It's just an exciting thing to work on today. I wake up in the mornings with a conversation in my head that I struggle with. What about you guys? Do you wake up all fresh and shiny and ready to go? Jaycine does.
I do.
She's a morning girl. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And that's good. So when you wake up in the morning, Jaycine, what's the dialogue that you've got going in there?
Well, it's usually
silent conversation.
I usually wake up to music in my head, and it's usually just uplifting music or fun music. And
so it's like you have an earworm?
Yeah, it's just like I wake up singing. And so I guess when you wake up singing, I don't really have dialogue because I wake up singing.
No, because you wake up with music. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool. Yeah, I don't usually wake up singing. You guys know I wake up with some kind of a grumble, but I've been working on it for a while. And in working on it, I've been able to replace some of what's going on in there. But also I've become much more self-aware, and I found a lot of power in being able to hear the conversation in my head. What about you, Jenn?
Oh, I don't wake up happy in the morning. Usually it's like, oh, got to do this, because I don't sleep well sometimes. So
right.
Yeah.
So you wake up achy or tired.
Yeah, and I have had in the past where it's like, for some reason, I'd wake up just dreading what was going to happen, because there was so much drama going on in my life that I actually conditioned myself to wake up to dread. So when the drama was gone, I had to deprogram myself from.
How did you do that?
Well, I talk about this a lot. I read that one book and watched that one TED Talk, but I forgot the doctor's name. But she's the one that does, as soon as you start to have awareness, you say, "Good morning. I love you, Jennifer." And you start, and before that feeling, because it's a thought that will create that feeling of dread. So there's an automatic thought going on. So if I can interrupt that thought, that you don't need to feel the dread. It's like, "Oh, good morning, I love you," and start it out that way. The awareness comes that way.
when you interrupt that thought and you think about it, is it a good morning? It's like an exciting good morning that you present to your conscious mind.
Not in the beginning. And I have to
give me
say,
a play-by-play. How
I
does it
have to
run?
say it a few times. It really depends on like what's going on in my life, but like a lot of times it's just a good morning. Good morning. I love you, Jennifer.
Good morning.
Good morning, you know. And sometimes it's happy and sometimes it's just, and I have to say it a few times before I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. And then you can get up with an I love you, Jennifer.
yeah,
And
and
that really helps you get started.
it's a different message. So there's a different emotion, there's a different feeling.
Yeah.
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 It's a good start. I know Jaycine would wake up with gratitude too when she wasn't waking up with a song. But I just really love waking up to a song in your heart. That's
I know. I think
fantastic.
that's so beautiful, Jaycine.
Yeah,
How
it is
lucky
so good.
It's a
to
really
start your
nice
day.
gift. It's a nice gift. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful thing. But I remember you saying things like, thank you for my sheets, for the softness of my sheets. And thank you for, so you would wake up to gratitudes.
Right. Yeah.
I'm wondering, what advice would you give to moms who wake up to children in their face?
Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those days. I remember having my daughter come in and actually physically open my eyes.
Pop the eyes. Yeah.
I was like, I just want to sleep 10 more minutes, please. I don't want to do this
10 more
right
minutes.
now. Yeah. So yeah, what do you do in that sense? I just take a breath, take a moment to breathe, maybe scoop them up or give them a hug and just take a moment to breathe. That would be my advice. Just give yourself a moment. Yeah.
I woke up to little kids in my face for about 40 years. And it took me a while. Oh, did I turn that off? I'm having a hard time with my viewpoint. Sorry, you guys. It took me a while when my kids were little, when I was just a brand new parent and navigating. But by the time we were, I don't know, half a dozen kids in, I kind of figured out for me what would work, because I invariably would wake up with somebody next to the bed with a problem. It would be, I'm hungry, or so and so hit me, or I wet the bed, or just it would wake up to a problem.
My tummy hurts.
Tummy
Yeah.
hurts, right.
Mhm.
And so
Dream.
I was from time to time successful with feeling the love for my child first.
Mhm.
And so when they came and they said their tummy hurt, it was to feel the compassion for a moment. And that was enough, just that moment of compassion or that moment of love, because I really love my kids. And when they were little, I just loved them because they were so cute and so cuddly and so sweet. And I would wake up to that quick feeling, and that would get me out of bed on the right foot. Now, I probably didn't stay on the right foot consistently, but it would get me out of bed to embrace some love or some compassion. And then that has grown into more embracing gratitude as I've gotten older and I don't have littles at home anymore. But it really did help me to remember how much I love them, how great it feels to snuggle them. One of my favorites was that they would just climb into bed and snuggle.
Yep.
And I loved the snuggle. And so I trained myself more to expect the snuggle than to expect the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same way you guys were talking about, good morning, I love you, Jennifer, or with the song in your heart, it was that happy expectation that I worked with. But you're right, taking a breath really worked on the times when you'd been up 4 times already and you just needed 10 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and giving yourself grace, moms.
Oh yeah, total grace. You work so hard.
Yeah. If you don't do that, just say, okay, I get to do, I'm sure I'm going to have a do-over.
Yeah,
I'm going to have another to do a do-over, and I'm going to do better. I'm going to be focused on that tomorrow, and just give yourself a big hug and the grace that you need, because man, it's a job. It's a job.
Such a big job, and it's 24/7, and it makes a huge difference in the world. It's just so important. So going back to the conversation in our head, let's anticipate that Jaycine woke up with a song in her heart and happy thoughts in the morning. But then when she got to work, it was a mess. It was just a mess. People were annoying. They did things wrong. They were disrespectful. I know how much you love disrespectful and unappreciative. So that changes conversation again. There's not probably a song in there at that moment.
No,
Let's talk about some things that we do when people get on our nerves. Almost all of us have dealt with PMS, hormone imbalances, the struggle of having raging hormones and the way that affects your thoughts. What kind of things can we do to temper or to shift the conversation in our head as they're doing that thing? I know you've got lots of practice with this, Jenn, because your awareness and your curiosity is always really good.
Well, a lot of like some of the really good quotes you hear, they talk about, change your thoughts, change your life and things like that. And I was like, yeah, easier said than done. It's kind of like, and I would get a little irritated. I'd be like, it's not as easy as you say it is. But then I'm like,
it is not easy.
Yeah. No. But then I'm like, but could it be? I don't know, and everything. So just for me, I just try to be very aware of the dialogue in between my two ears. Just I'm like, what is going on inside my brain? And just question it a lot of times. Just like, why am I saying this to myself? What's the payoff? Or like, really, is that true? It feels true, but is it really true? And I just try and like get really curious about it. And because of the hypnotherapy and my own like personal walk-in therapy, I do a lot of parts work. And so a lot of times I'm like, there's just a part of me that is just really angry right now. Or
she's really having a hard time.
Yeah, or part that's really hurt, or part that's just so disrespected, and everything like that. And so I try and like, just understand what is behind that. Like, why does it feel that way? Why do I feel that way? And can I have a different thought about this just to have a different experience? And sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes like I just have to be mad with that or sit with it.
And emotions are okay.
Yeah, let it have its say and its experience. And but if I can change a thought, I will. But sometimes, a lot of times, what it is like, I'm feeling that and it's okay. It's okay.
Sometimes you really just need to offer yourself compassion and grace. And just say, you know what, that was rude, or that was hard, or that did hurt. And almost like you're holding a child and counseling with somebody small and comforting somebody small to do that for yourself. Kristen Neff's self-hug, when we take a little time and give ourselves a self-hug, or are kind to ourselves by getting a warm drink now that it's cool weather and we're doing warm drinks again. Or, just what do you do, Jaycine? How do you, when you've got that, because I know you work with a lot of doctors and a lot of people who are not always nice to you.
It's very true.
Yeah. Let's hear what you do, Jaycine. Let's hear it.
Very true. It's been so cool, guys, to just have the experience of our group and CMH coaching and the books that I read leading up to joining CMH coaching, because I wish younger me would have had these tools. I wish younger me would have known that I could change. I do have everything that I need to change my thoughts if I need to. Yeah. I wish I would have known to give myself grace. I wish I would have known to feel the feels, to let myself feel the feels. And so now fast forward to the things that I've learned, and I'm still a work in progress. So I'm a WIP, work in progress. And I'm just an older whip.
That's cute.
I'm just an older whip.
Well, won't we? We'll just all be whips if we choose it. Yeah,
there we go.
Forever and ever, as long as we're here.
Yeah. And for me, one of the strategies that works really well for me is, it's a type of tapping, but it's a little more aggressive. Like if I am in the moment and I'm on camera and I have to, I feel it just.
And you're struggling with some kind of a conversation while you're on camera.
Yes. Just tapping. So just tapping on it, it
And
interrupts
do
that
you
thought
tap through your
pattern.
hand points while you're
I do.
on the
I do.
call?
If I can do that underneath my desk and right, I can start
Yes.
tapping. And it's interesting because, and I don't know if this is a point or not, but like right above my knee is another
Oh,
place
interesting.
that it,
Interesting.
for whatever reason with me, it just helps change that pattern in my brain, and it
Uh-huh.
helps me to just calm down. And it's my take a breath without without visually
Yeah,
taking.
but I love the idea of tapping.
Yeah,
Do you have an affirmation that you use it, or are you simply having a physical tap to
I'm
help
having
your body settle?
I'm having a physical tap to help my body settle. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
when I have something that lights me up, I feel it. I think it starts in my back. This is interesting to think about this. It starts in my back and then it rushes forward, and it's just like,
Forward, yeah.
Yeah.
like, right, like because it's this aggressive move
Uh-huh.
for me. And so to interrupt that, that's something that I do. And then just on my knee, and maybe it's like my grandma patting my knee. Maybe that's
It
why
may be. Yeah.
okay,
There,
dear.
there, darling. You're going to be okay. There,
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Your
Yeah.
brothers are just dumb boys. It's okay.
You had a lot of practice with that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
So
what I wonder, Jaycine, is because that rush and everything like that sounds to me like you're going offline, you're flipping your lid, you're becoming more of your activated, like fight or flight. And by
yeah,
Yeah.
doing that, you're bringing awareness back to your body. It's so you can stay integrated in your brain. I'm just wondering. To me, I'm like, oh, that's really
That
ingenious
does sound
because
good.
your attention goes to your body. You're like, I'm here. I'm in my body. I'm and then you can continue to try and stay focused and even keeled.
Mhm.
and listen more deeply. And that settles me down enough to be able to say, did they really mean it that way?
To
Yes.
Right?
extend grace, right? To touch
Yeah,
base
then
with
I
your
can.
creator. Just
Mhm,
quickly touch base with your creator and open yourself to that inspiration.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
you got to come into your body again first, or
yeah,
else you're
because
off to the races.
I have flipped my lid. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason, I'm not much of a flight girl. I'm a pretty
You're a
much
fighter. I can tell. I love it.
She is a fighter.
I
Yeah.
love it.
One of the
I
things we
know.
love that. Yeah.
flight. Yeah. Mm.
It is so, so good. Okay, so let's try another one. If you've had an experience where you failed miserably,
Mm.
the conversation in your head generally will turn to some kind of humiliation or shame or disappointment or despair, depending on how bad it is. And it's running, you get the running dialogue that's in there. Oh my gosh, she screwed it up again. You really shouldn't. This is what happens in my brain anyway. You really shouldn't be in this business if you can't figure it out. Yeah, it's a bad one. And so for me, I have such a visual imagination that it's kind of like the devil and the angel on my shoulder.
Mhm.
And I will start a conversation for me as my 60 plus smart, intuitive, well-educated coach self with these people, and start doing a little self-coaching with, well, yeah, we really screwed that up, and just bring in those points. Otherwise, if I can't start that conversation and do the self-coaching, and asking for help, always asking for help from my creator, I'll just go down into the pits of shame. And shame's not a happy place to be. I don't like to fail, but if I can fail learning, then it's valuable.
Mhm.
So what about you guys? What happens when you fail and the conversation shifts? Especially, I just am so good at failing publicly. I kind of wish I could do it more privately, but no. Yeah. So
I,
how do you work with that for yourself?
I have the same type of spiral, I think, that you do.
Mhm.
But I heard it once explained to that and if I let myself continue to that, I'm eating the shame sandwich.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'll bet a shame sandwich is nasty.
So it's like, as soon as I'm like, I don't want to eat this. I don't want this to be part of me and everything. And so you just try
No,
and
I visualize green slime.
yeah, I
Not
know.
good.
So it's like, but those are the things I'm saying to myself. Those are the things that are happening in my head. And so it's like
Yeah.
that kind of helps me stop that. And or am I just listening to the what they call the poison parrot in my brain? You know, the
Oh,
poison
that's
parrot.
cute. A poison parrot.
I'm like,
Yep.
oh, these are so familiar, these thoughts and things I say to
Yes.
myself
I
when this
remember
happens.
these.
So I will be like, okay, is it the poison parrot or am I eating the shame sandwich or is it both? It sounds like both. So let's work with it
It
that
sounds
way.
like you name it to tame it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah. When you identify it, you give it a name. And
Yeah.
then does that allow you to shift your
Mm.
thinking so your
Yeah,
conversation
because
shifts?
a lot of times it'll be like, oh, I don't like this. Here it is again. You know, so it's like, well, like,
Uh-huh.
here's my old friend, this, you know, or whatever. And so then I try and have a different experience with it. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
I remember here's my old friend anxiety a lot.
You know,
So
here,
we'll talk for a minute about that. The conversation in your head that is full of doom and gloom, explosion and devastation, right? The terrible things that are coming that can create anxious thoughts.
Mm.
Is that, how do you work with that? The fear of the fear, the anxiety.
Oh man, that's so because I'm currently doing that. Like
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm
right
sorry,
now.
but good. So
Yeah.
we can learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Just currently just a situation with one of my children and that doom seems so like probable and not just possible, but probable and concerned about life choices and um that are going to cause this child to be unhappy and
Mhm.
yeah just and it just keeps going and going
And you
and
feel
this
like you're watching her or him implode.
yeah and it's and then the them not accepting help or don't want to
Yes.
hear it. I don't want to hear
Yes.
it. Yeah, I don't want to hear
I
it.
have to
So
practice my pronouns. Thank you for them.
thank you
Jared
for
corrected my pronouns for me a couple of days ago. They prefer them. I'm like, okay, I'm learning, practicing my pronouns. Yeah. But
yeah.
how are you working with the anxious thoughts then? Because I know they're not hopelessly distracting you because I've been talking with you and I know that you're still working and stuff. They're not
Yeah.
consuming you. What are you doing?
No, you turn to your creator. I turn to my creator, my heavenly father, and um, it's real. He's real.
He
And
is real. Yeah.
he takes my burdens and he takes that pain and um he helps me manage it. I can't say that there aren't times when I'm driving that I don't just fall apart, right? That's kind of
That's what the car rides are for. Yeah.
yeah,
Jen's talked
my
about that too, all the way home from therapy, right? Yeah.
yeah, you just cry and let it out and then get to where you need to be and fix your
Yeah.
face.
Clean it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but also not just faking my way through it. I actually can feel peace. And that's something that's different for me is allowing myself to feel the pain because
Mhm.
so long my nature was to Pollyanna it. And I think it's great to have just but not to be real. Like because
Right. You
I
need
didn't
to
want
feel the
to
feels and be
recognize.
real. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, and then just that peace that comes from him and just, hey, I've got this. It's okay. We can do this together. And
And you
it
feel
doesn't,
so much
doesn't
stronger. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't last forever. I have those reoccurrences, but over and over again,
Yeah.
he shows up when I invite him to, right? He doesn't show up if
Yes.
I don't invite him. I mean, I'm sure he's there, but I just don't see him, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. He needs to be invited for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That is beautiful. Yep. Those conversations with our creator make all the difference. And I notice when I invite him in that the conversation in my head immediately shifts. It's just It's just that quick.
And the
And
feeling
I
in my
invite him in.
body, right? My body just feels differently.
You're not doing the push forward anymore, ready to hurt
Right.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're settling back into your space.
Mhm.
Shoulders come down just a little bit. Maybe the heart opens up a little bit.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
really do feel differently in your body.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Okay, so we talked about the conversation of shame. We talked about the conversation of anxiety. We talked about the conversation of dread and the conversation of anger. What about the conversation of doubt? Just the subtle, you really aren't good enough to do this conversation. How do you work with that one? Because that to me seems to be the most pervasive among the folks that I coach with. And it's so subtle. It's like the comparison conversation. I've been on Instagram, I've been on TikTok, I've been on some social media, and I'm just not feeling like enough. That conversation. How do we work with that one in our head?
Mhm.
I know everybody has it. I don't do social media, so
Jen,
that's
do you go to parts at all? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
is that your first mode usually?
Well, my first mode is well, I will sometimes say, okay, like what has activated that doubt or what has activated that not a good, like what have I done or what have I experienced? Like I kind of want to
That's
know what
you want to know what
that.
opens the door
Yeah,
to it at the present
exactly
moment.
what has brought this forward? Was
Mhm.
it a thought I was thinking? Was it something that I was trying? Was it a conversation I had, or was it something I was, just something? Because that will give me a lot of information. Because a lot of times it's like, yeah, I can see that because I have a high ideal of something that I'm trying to achieve. So I just,
Mhm.
and then that's when I like, if it's something that I haven't been able to overcome or achieve, I always like to put my word in there as yet.
Yet,
Ah,
the hope
there it
word.
is.
I
So
love the hope word of yet. Yeah.
yeah. So, and sometimes that will calm it down. Sometimes it's like I'm like, oh, this is really different and new. What's really hurt inside of me that needs reassurance or something. And sometimes I just are like, I have no idea, and I'm just feeling this feel, and it's going to be there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
get curious, ask questions,
Yeah.
find
I like to
out.
put some music on.
Yeah.
So yeah, the music helps me
Mm.
either to connect with my creator, to feel closer, or to wallow. Sometimes I need a little wallow before I'm ready to move on,
Yeah, so true you are,
That's right. It's so true. You just need to wallow. But for me, if I'm in social media and I'm feeling doubt or feeling less than, the first thing that I need to do is get off.
Mhm. Yes. Don't
Yeah.
keep reading comments. Just stop. Stop.
Just get off.
Just
Get
stop.
off and yeah, just stop. Yeah. And find I have friends that just do social media fasts. They're like, I'm just gonna get off for the rest of the month or for the next couple of months. And I'll come back, but I just need a break because I'm in my head too much and I'm
Mm.
doing too much comparison. And it's so bizarre when you get off. Because I'm on screens a lot. And
Mhm.
when you do a screen fast and you get off, it's like somebody turns the lights on and all of a sudden the world is different. You're like, oh my gosh, I've been missing. There's leaves on the trees, there's sun in the sky. I know how to make something really yummy for dinner, and you see yourself differently when you're
Mhm.
not exposing yourself to all of these things for comparison.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
I
kind of wild.
There's this famous quote, and I can't remember who said it, but it's comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
Amen.
I don't know who
Yes.
said that, but whenever I find myself in comparison, I'm like, yeah, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be able to feel good about yourself because
Yeah.
of what you're doing. So, okay.
Yeah. I mean, social media can be an amazing tool. It's beautiful to use technology to connect. It's just we need to have breaks,
Well,
sabbaticals.
yes, but we also compare when we're not in social media.
It's
Think
true. We
now.
can just be walking through
Mhm.
Walmart and compare,
Yep.
We have a very
or reading a book.
our society is very, we compare,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We really are.
Yeah,
Any
that's
other ideas about conversations in our head? Anything else come to you?
I think just being aware,
Mhm.
like Jen said, when we're aware and we recognize that, oh, wait, what did I just say to
Whoa,
myself?
what am I saying to myself up here?
What? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that is such a big piece of the puzzle is when you recognize it. Just and I've said this before, it used to be when I stubbed my toe, I berated myself. Jaycine, how could you be that stupid? I can't believe you did that again. I don't you know, I'd like just blah, 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 blah.
Off
Like
you would go. And
I
those are normally voices that you had heard in your past from someone else
I
that were
don't
modeled for you. Yeah.
maybe I don't know, but
I don't know. Yeah.
nobody, I don't, in my childhood, I don't ever remember anyone calling me stupid.
Oh,
But
wow.
Screaming voice.
it's only myself. And it's
Uh-huh.
because that word to me is so like that is a word I don't say to anybody. Like to
Yeah, it's
me,
the ultimate.
that is so demeaning. And then,
Yeah.
so when you get curious about that, it's like, whoa, wait a second.
Where is that coming from?
Yeah, yeah. And you can dismiss the thought that no, that
Well,
I am not going to say this to
that's
myself.
interesting, JC, because sometimes we wouldn't say those things to others, but we'll say the worst things to ourselves.
It's the
Yes,
truth.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah,
Yes.
I would never look at somebody and go, you are so fat.
yeah.
Like,
No. Look
say
at those
that to
saddlebags.
anyone.
You wouldn't say that. Yeah.
No, I don't know that I would even think that. I don't know.
So why are we saying it to ourselves?
Well, and
Right.
I love that we have the power to dismiss it.
Hmm.
We always
Yeah.
have the power of choice. And so if we decide we don't want to say that, we can stop it right then and there because you don't have to. So
Yeah.
much of it for me is being mindful of what's happening in my mind, you know? I find I have a favorite meditation that I like to do when I have a couple of minutes just down. It's just closing my eyes and I picture myself at the top of a hill and I allow myself to look all the way through the wooded hillside down to the valley where there's a river underneath. And
Mhm.
as I'm watching the river, I let all of my thoughts be in the river. And I sit up at the very top of the hill and I watch the thoughts go by in the river. And it is just such an empowering place for me to be as I'm just doing some deep breathing and just resting. I'm like, got my eyes closed. I'm just resting and watching what's happening in their thoughts in the river.
I'm
And
going to try this today.
it's fascinating to see what's going on. Well, what I find is when I do that frequently, I'm much more cognizant of what's happening in my head.
Mm.
And when I do get out of sorts, I can close my eyes and climb back up the hill and watch the thoughts at the bottom. And it's like I completely disconnect from the critical thoughts
Hmm.
and I come back to being me. It's one of my very favorite meditations. I learned it from Wayne Dyer years and years and years ago.
Mm.
And it's my go-to when I've got struggle.
We do a similar one. There's so many of those like in hypnotherapy, but one of them
Yeah.
that I love to do is where you actually sit by there and it's the leaves that you watch. The
Oh, you
leaves
watch the leaves drift.
Lots of
as
trees.
they
Uh-huh.
but it's really funny because my brain is really a weird place to be. So sometimes I have to pull the leaves out of my head and put in the water. So sometimes I'm like, that one won't leave. So let me just pull it out.
Let me
And
just
put it
take care
in
of that
water.
one.
Exactly. Here comes a branch,
Uh-huh.
but yeah,
Imagination is so fun.
it's really
It,
fun. Yeah.
and it's a very free place for me to be, which I love. There's like no wrong way to do
Mhm.
things, and so the cartoon characters can live in there and old aunts and uncles can live in there and I just can really enjoy myself with meditation. Yeah, and imagery. It
Hmm.
is good. All right. Any other tips for our girls? You get the ugly conversation in your head or the condemning conversation in your head.
That poison parrot, tell it to be
Oh, the
quiet.
poison parrot. Yep.
Give it a cracker. Don't eat your shame sandwich. Question everything in your head. There are times where you're like, oh my gosh, that's my mother's voice. That's my mother's saying that.
Yes.
Why am I repeating it? Or like
Mhm.
Yes,
something
that's
like
my third grade teacher.
exactly like, I mean, why did I hold on to when that teacher said that? And just
Wow.
question everything.
Well, and know that you have the power to just let it go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
you know?
change it, you
Yeah,
know,
or change it.
or say that part that keeps bringing it up, like, yeah, that was really not a nice thing to say,
Yeah.
you know.
Let's change that.
Yeah.
I love the power
Have a
that
do-over.
Yeah,
can change
do-over.
it.
Have a do-over.
Let's do it
let's
over.
rephrase that. We're going to say that a different way this time. Yeah.
Let's do over. Let's do
a
better.
do-over. Mhm.
Yeah, a do-over.
How dare
That's
she say
beautiful.
that to you, type thing. Let's say this.
That's not nice.
Was
That's right.
so not nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So just for this week, it would just be fun to monitor that conversation. And it's good to do a week practice every now and then and just see what your status is. How you doing in there?
Yeah.
Just find out. And then if there are things you want to change, then you can change them. And if you need help with coaching, we can help you with that because that's something we do all the time. Hey, so Jaycine, I heard we have book club. How's that going?
This today kind of fell apart. I don't know. Did you were you able to go, Jenn?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody went. So
Yeah. I think probably Anne was on there by herself. I don't
love Anne. Love Anne.
maybe
How's the book going?
the book is really good. Yes. The gratitude diary. So it's really, really good. And it helps you.
This
be
woman,
gratitude.
this woman intentionally lived a whole year in gratitude. So she really made it a project. So that's what
Oh,
I really admired
wow.
her. It
Mhm.
wasn't just like, I'm going to have this little, it was a whole year.
That
Mhm.
was her deliberate practice for a
Mhm.
year to live in gratitude. And
Yep.
so this is basically her journal
Her
Yes.
experiences.
Yeah,
of
her
the year.
experiences. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
That's
I think
cool.
I think I said this last week, but we had a doctor that he was very negative when we first started working with him. And he told us last week or the week before that when we were in a support call with him that he's like, yeah, I'm on my 13th gratitude journal. He said, I write 3 gratitudes every single day without fail. Without
That's
fail.
beautiful.
He's
That's
like,
beautiful.
it's changed my life.
Yep. It
Yeah.
does change your life. Gratitude is a superpower. It really is.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's so exciting. Oh, and those gratitude journals have got to be treasures.
I
When he
know.
has a
I was
bad
like,
day, he could go back and look at it. Yeah.
where did you start? Yeah. I'm grateful for
Yeah.
sunglasses. Yeah. Like,
When I'm not, I shouldn't say it, but I am not currently keeping a gratitude journal. I did for a long time. I keep a prayer journal and I have a 5-year. But when I kept something that was strictly gratitudes, I can remember writing several times my pillow. I was just grateful for my pillow.
so great.
I've written, I'm just grateful this day is done. Because I'd be like,
Here we go. Yep.
I'm grateful for a do-over tomorrow.
Grateful that we're done.
But then there's things like grateful for snowflakes and grateful for chocolate cake. And I mean, there's so many beautiful things in our world to appreciate. It is
That's
great.
true.
Well, yeah, I really am tempted to go read that book. I keep thinking I need to get it and read it. It sounds fantastic.
It's
Yeah, it sounds great.
She has a lot
Well,
of really good also studies that she backs up.
Mhm.
And like
we
so she
do love our studies.
does have like a
Yeah.
really like a lot of brain stuff in it, which I appreciate. So
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Well, that's
Mhm.
great. Well,
Yeah.
let's go forward and be grateful. And let's listen to the conversations in our head, just enough to be cognizant, not necessarily to identify, but just enough to listen and monitor and see if we're thinking right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then next week is Thanksgiving. Woo! And
Yay.
we'll get together and be grateful. So till next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Moment by moment, it's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring